Welcome to part 2 of our video series on the chain link project, creating technical drawings. During this video, what we're going to be doing is adding a few views to our already started technical drawings from part 1, and then adding smart dimensions on 2 of the 3 views that we're going to be working with. First thing you need to do is go ahead and open up Solidworks and open up your chain link part itself. That way we have all the metadata that can be transferred over to the drawing. So from this part here, we're going to go ahead and open up the drawing by going to File, and then open the drawing. And here's our drawing that we want. Click on it and open it. And then this is the linking right here of that metadata I was talking to you about, which means if we make any changes in the part with that link, the changes will occur in the actual drawing itself. So we're going to fill in this area. We're going to do something a little old school called a 3-point projection. I will need 3 views. I'm going to put the front view right down here, top view's up here, and the right side view is going to be over here, parallel with the front view. Now, how do we get these views in here? Glad you asked that question. What we have over here on the right side is a series of tools that we have not used yet. One of them is called the palette. This is where we're going to pull all of our views to create our drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and click View Palette. It's going to open this up. And if you happen to open this up and this is blank, and you got a red line here that says there's nothing here, if you've got the parts file open, come up here and click the refresh, and it will go ahead and refresh everything and give you all the recent views. Okay, so since I've got this kind of close here, I need the front, I need the top, and I need the right. So there they are. That's what they look like. If you used a different plane to start your initial drawing for your extrusion on your chain link, it might have a slightly different orientation. No big deal. Go with the name and kind of adapt what we're doing. Okay, now how I'm going to place this. Okay, I got a top edge to my part right here. There's a line break between sections A and B. I want that parallel. And I'm going to try and put this shoulder in line with the 3 and 4. It's not going to be exact, but it'll be close enough. And as you can see right here, it says drag views onto drawing sheet. So I'm literally going to do that. Let me get this to where I can see the whole thing here. I'm going to click and hold, drag it right out here. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it, that top line, that top horizontal line going with that break between A and B, and the shoulder kind of where I'm holding it with the 3 and the 4 right about there. Now I need a top view. Not a problem. I know the palette did close. We could go back over there, but the second I mouse, you'll notice that it automatically wants to place them anyway. So I need a top view. I'm going to come up over here. I'm just mousing. I've got no buttons pushed. Mouse up here. That's about a good spot there. I want the right side right about there. Nothing goes in the upper right-hand corner. Everything is just like this. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. It's not going to work. You're not putting anything up here. You have this view, and this view, and that is it. Okay, so now that that's done, let's add some dimensions. The annotation tab is open up here, and you can see that we do have the Smart Dimension tool available to us. Now, the Smart Dimension tool is actually in a couple of different places. It's actually in the Sketch tab as well. Doesn't really matter where you go. Now, to start this thing off, I'm going to start working with this view right here. I want to go ahead and click and add. I'm going to start working with the tongue and the groove. Those are the measurements I'm going to stick with. So I'm going to start with the tongue first. Why am I starting with the tongue first? I don't know. I thought it'd be a good place to start. Smart Dimension. Making sure that it is dimension over here. I want the measurement of that shoulder. I'm going to click here and click here. This is something you are familiar with, and I'm going to drop the dimension right about there. Okay, now remember when I said things get a little weird? Yep, they're going to get weird. Now, this number is not exactly in a great place to read nice and clear. Our dimension line, which is right here with the arrows, and the extension line this is not a very big space, so our number's colliding, and it looks kind of weird to read that. We can actually straighten this number out and rotate the number 90 degrees. And how we do that? No big deal. Since it is already selected, it is blue, we have this over here in the Properties Manager. Come over here and click the Leaders tab. Come down here where it says Custom Text Position and click the box. And that gives you a few options, and you want the middle one. And that will rotate the number 90 degrees. I want the tongue here, the widest part here, and the widest part here. And I'm going to drop that in the same spot. I'm going to do the same thing. I can already tell that the numbers and the dimension lines are going to start colliding with each other. They're going to start arguing. See, they're starting to argue already. There. I don't know why they're doing this. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes they don't. Be ready for a little bit of fight between these little rival dimensions here. Let's do the next one. I'll drop that there. Leaders. Anytime you're working on this left side plane that I'm working on, imagine a plane right through here. Anytime you're working on that left side plane, the dimension lines need to line up. Okay. Now, I could do the overall from here to here, which I'm going to do for this discussion, and I'm going to leave it. Now, for this dimension, I want it over here. Why? It looks pretty good over here. But I'm not going to put it here, not going to put it here, not going to put it here. It has to be clear to the object as best I can. And since it's the larger dimension, it goes on the outside of the dimensions that are already there. So the smaller dimensions always go closer to the object, larger dimensions towards the outside. Again, I'm going to do the same thing with the leaders and get that all straightened up. Now I'm going to go ahead and worry about this tongue. I'm going to move a little faster here. These are different dimensions. This is how come I'm putting these three down. I'm going to go ahead and drop the dimensions first. And I'm going to go ahead and change that. And then the next dimension. Again, I'm probably going to have a fight right here. Wouldn't surprise me if it starts fighting. Would not surprise me at all. So far, it's not fighting. Cross your fingers. And then just the same thing. It's all I'm doing. All I'm doing. Okay, let's bring this down just a little bit. Looks good. So I got the side measurements. Now I want to go ahead and get the overall length measurements from this shoulder to the end. And I only need one. I don't need to do it to the top, just to the bottom. Don't need it up here because this stuff is parallel. The only time you need to put a measurement up there at the top is if they are different. I don't need an overall. Why not? Because I can add 20 and 20 and get 40. I really don't need this one here, but for this discussion, I want you all to understand that there is some certain rules about placement of dimension lines and dimensions on our drawings. So that takes care of that. Okay, the top one's going to be interesting because we just need just a few pieces of information. We're going to center everything of our discussion on the circle, which happens to be a hole. I need to know where this exact center is so that I can, run a drill bit right there if I'm using any type of aluminum or wood or plastic, so I can drill that hole for that pin. Same thing here on the other side. I'm not going to be too concerned about these other little holes, which is the access hole and the chamfer. I'm not going to worry about that right now. What I am going to be concerned about is just the actual circle and then its placement and its size. So let's go back to Smart Dimension. Make sure that's active. I'm going to go ahead and go top edge to this center part. Look how I'm getting this center part right here, right there on that center line. That's going to give me the 5 millimeters. Again, I'm going to do the same thing and do a little bit of custom work there. And then from the end point to the vertical line here, right there. Mirror this on the other side. Could have done a center line, and with the center line, whatever's over here, we know is going to be the same thing over here unless otherwise noted, but we'll just go ahead and do this for the practice. And then from this end point to this part here, and 5. Now I'm going to try and do the circles. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the circle, bring that up here, and then this circle, bring that up there. Now I'm going to attempt to actually get this horizontal. Don't have to, but it would kind of look nice. So I'm going to start with this one here because it's the one that's selected. Come down here and do the same thing. Had some collisions earlier today with this because they're relatively close and they don't like each other very well. And that's going to be just fine. I'm going to leave it just like that. Okay, so that is how we do all these dimensions. Well, wait a minute, sir. What about the right-hand side? We don't need anything over on here because we have all the dimensions here and here. So this one will be sitting here. Now, we're going to add some notes to this later, but that's not in this video. That's going to be in part 3. Now, once I get this done, I'm going to come up here, save it, and then I get to go to video part 3.